Let's paint some more images using a limited color palette. This color palette was kind of fun, but I did struggle with knowing what to draw. Though instead of wallowing on it, I just started drawing. I played around with a few different ideas to see what would stick. So in the sketch phase, you get to see a bunch of different things. Some that are fully colored using the color palette, and others that are more rough sketches. Can some of them potentially be considered finished? Maybe, but I didn't think so at the time, so I kept making things. Sometimes you just need to get the ideas out and figure out what works and what doesn't. These final 3 images are what I consider to be the final image in this color palette, and they all have a slightly similar topic to the other 2 sets, though I feel the focus here is less on the landscape and more on the character, because the landscapes are all well and good, but the character is what makes the image interesting and truly makes you wonder what's going on. In this first image, why is the character walking up a snowy hill? What's on top of that hill? Why are they alone in what appears to be the wilderness? And there are so many questions, and when you answer them, you start making up your own stories about that. And that's the fun thing about art. While we sometimes get told what's going on, other times it's totally up to the viewer to fill in the blanks. I see some of that in these pieces, because while I had the idea and made the image, it doesn't mean that I hold the answers of what the story is actually about. This second image is one that I consider the follow-up to an image from the first set. In that first image, I drew a forest fire, but here we've got a character reacting to the aftermath. Just by adding a character, we connect with a topic on a deeper level. As it's not just a burning forest, we are reminded of the loss of something. It could be the loss of a livelihood, or even a home or loved ones. What do you think it is? Oh, and in case you're looking at that greenish grey I'm using and thinking, hey, that's not in the colour palette, what's going on here? Well then let me clear that up for you. The green comes from the yellow. The yellow I'm using is a cold yellow, so when I'm making it darker, it turns green. It's one of those things that makes yellow a bit tricky to work with at times, because you may want a darker yellow, but when you reduce the brightness, it can go green or brown. So often what you're looking for is a shift towards orange, but that means more of a hue shift than altering the brightness or the saturation. This final image is based on an image I painted during Inktober 2024. While I still quite like the original ink painting, I wanted to give it another go, or yet another go, as I already drew this during the early sketch phase. It's a pose I have attempted a few times and I struggle with a lot, which is due to the angle. Angles like this are always tricky because there is foreshortening at play. So what I'm getting stuck on is not just getting the angle of the character right, but making sure that I get the balance right between the height of the character and the length of their arms. In other words, because of the angle, the character shouldn't be as tall, but the arms shouldn't be too long as it might seem like they have stupid long arms. Though I think in this case I managed to balance things quite well. Thank you for watching.